Oh wah. Lilith is too much, you're seriously gonna burn me. Carol was fully submerged in the water, with only her head peeking out, but her shoulders were still shaking, probably because she was rubbing her breasts under the water. Come on, I didn't really burn you at all, I said while putting on my clothes. No way you didn't, you obviously did, burble, Carol muttered while blowing bubbles, her head still barely above water. It is hard to imagine that the kind of person who would casually blow bubbles in the dirty bathwater to be a noble young lady. Advertisements. Okay, you can finish washing up first, I'm going to head out and get something to eat. After putting on my clothes, I passed the barrel and flicked Carol's head. Ow, burble. Caught off guard by this unexpected surprise, Carol's limbs plunged into the bucket as if she were drowning and gulped down a lot of bathwater all at once. Humph, she deserves it for making fun of my chest. Then, ignoring Carol who shot me a resentful glare while coughing at the edge of the barrel, I headed out to eat. Oh, finished bathing already? How's the taste of the bathwater? I teased Carol, who had already changed into a goose yellow dress and was sulkily walking beside me. Humph. You're ignoring me? Does your chest hurt? Humph. Carol glanced at me, but she still maintained her silence. You've got quite the temper. I used my chopsticks to pinch a piece of chef's recommended medium rare beef and dangled this delicacy before Carol's eyes. What, you don't want the meat? From the moment I picked up the piece of meat, Carol's eyes dangled with the meat, and her body even stretched forward involuntarily. Come, I'll give you a bite, I teased her, pretending to flick the meat forward for a bit. As soon as I said that, Carol moved toward me. Her shape becoming an afterimage in an instant, eating the piece of meat and then sitting back in her seat like a thunderbolt. The whole process happened in an instant and I was too slow to react. Oh, ya worry the woon who ret me eat it. Carol's cheek bulged like a foraging squirrel, but it wasn't cute in the slightest. On the contrary, it made people want to beat her up even more. I don't believe it, I said while holding out another piece of meat in front of her. Swish. It was faster this time, as I couldn't even catch the afterimage. I merely heard the sound of wind and by the time I looked the meat was gone. Advertisements. Oh, delish. Carol's face was unbelievably smug. I looked at my empty chopsticks and felt like I was being played by a monkey. Again. Swish. Again. Swish. Again. 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 Swish. Swish. Bish. Seriously, I looked at Carol, who was almost unable to cover her mouth, and felt my face and hands cramping. With that much agility, couldn't you have done it yourself? Why are you involving me in your big thing? Carol chewed the meat in her mouth contentedly and said indistinctly, this is the ultimate skill I developed from childhood, I don't normally show it off. Why was a young lady practicing that kind of skill? Don't you know? The faster you eat, the more time you have to play. Just how much did you like to play? I covered my face and felt like my brain cells were fried. HMHM, Carol hummed, smiling smugly. Advertisements. This chapter is provided to you by Relibrary. Please visit Relibrary to show the translators your appreciation and stop supporting the content thief. That's not something to be proud of, you idiot. Forget it, I gave up and pushed a lot of different dishes in front of Carol. Eat up, just do your job properly later tonight. You probably won't be able to eat anything good for a while after you enter. Advertisements. Wow. Hooray. Carol stuffed the food into her mouth like a crocodile, not even bothering to use her chopsticks. Carol, who had eaten half of the food, suddenly covered her stomach and said bitterly, I drank too much bathwater. I can't eat anymore. Why didn't you die drinking it? I sighed and didn't bother to criticize Carol over this, I just waved my hand at her. If you're full, then stop. Don't stress it, what will you do if your stomach is broken? That's right, you should reconsider if you have anything else to prepare. After all, the operation tonight is quite important. I really can't feel at ease with Carol's plan, so I mention it just in case. Carol scratched her head for a moment, her eyes suddenly flashed as if she just thought of something. She said excitedly, Lilith, could you lend me a little money? I have something to buy. What are you buying? I asked a little bit puzzled. Don't worry about that, just lend me a little money. That. Okay, I hand her a few gold coins, is that enough? More than enough, Carol nodded, it's not anything expensive. After I gave Carol the money, she ran out of the restaurant like a wisp of smoke. Although I was a little confused about what Carol was going to buy, it was just a few gold coins. Even if the hole in her head gets any bigger, she wouldn't do anything extraordinarily dumb. She wouldn't, right?